Welcome to the show. Before we dive in today, just wanted to share with you that we're now on buymeacoffee.com. So if you'd like to support the channel and you like the content I'm bringing you, go ahead and check out buymeacoffee.com/Samson King and make a donation. We'd really appreciate it. So let's dive right in. Our media and PR topic today is a little different. We're going to look at how North Korea's lucrative trade in human hair is helping it skirt the impact of sanctions. So what's going on there is Pyongyang's trade in wigs and false eyelashes is booming, offering a vital revenue stream to help it pursue its nuclear ambitions. So the lesson today is what you see is not necessarily what you get, a bait and switch of sorts. So let's take a look. They almost certainly don't know it, but Western owners of shiny new wigs and false eyelashes could owe their look to North Korean slave labor. In recent years, a booming trade in human hair has helped to sustain North Korea's isolated economy, softening the impact of international sanctions and providing Pyongyang with vital revenue to pursue its nuclear ambitions. Last year, exports to China included 1,680 tons, or about 135 double-decker buses worth of false eyelashes, beards, and wigs worth around $167 million, according to Chinese customs data. Millions of dollars in sales of human hair helped drive a recovery in the secretive states' exports in 2023, with wigs and other hair products making up almost 60% of declared goods sent to China. By far, its biggest trading partner, 60%. These women who are shaving off their heads over there, I wonder if they even know why or what they're doing it for, or whether they're even aware that their hair is being sold. The products are typically made with hair imported from China and assembled at low cost in the north, before being returned to Chinese businesses who export them all over the world. However, shoppers in London and Seoul perusing hairpieces and other accoutrements will find labels telling them the items were made in China, not North Korea. There's one of the bait and switches right there, right? People are more likely to buy it if they see it's coming from China than North Korea. That's a PR lesson there. Light industry of the kind that manufacture beauty products are not subject to UN sanctions against Pyongyang. Instead, they are one of several ways, legal and otherwise, in which the regime is able to soften the blow from international punitive measures and earn vital foreign currency. North Korea thrives on the suffering of its people. It has been almost 2 decades since North Korea tested its first nuclear weapon and announced the arrival of a potential threat to regional and global security from one of the world's most brutal and unpredictable dictatorships. The UN Security Council was shocked into action, passing its first rounds of sanctions in 2006 with the demand that the North end nuclear testing, along with a ban on exports to the country of military supplies and luxury goods. But by any reasonable measure, years of sanctions have only dented North Korea's pursuit of a working nuclear deterrent. Its leader, Kim Jong-un, has not just taken up where his father, Kim Jong-il, left off when he died in 2011. He has accelerated his regime's acquisition of ballistic technology via a stream of test launches that have given the North the ability, in theory, to conduct a nuclear strike on the U.S. mainland. Lai Ferrick-Easley, a professor at Ewha University in Seoul, says it was unreasonable to expect sanctions alone would end Kim's nuclear ambitions. Sanctions make it more difficult for North Korea to obtain technology, components, and money for its weapons program, he says. And I quote, but sanctions haven't stopped North Korea because the Kim regime has built a governance system that can survive and even thrive on the suffering of its people. Pyongyang is also adept at evading sanctions through smuggling and cyber hacking, especially since countries such as Russia and China became increasingly lax about enforcement. End quote. So although many weapons experts doubt the regime's ability to marry a miniaturized warhead with an intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, Kim has encountered little opposition in his mission to acquire the ability to wreak nuclear devastation on enemy targets. In 2017, the North threatened to launch a long-range missile towards the U.S. Pacific territory of Guam. The same year, it flew 2 long-range missiles over Hokkaido, Japan's northernmost main island. In 2023, after a hiatus caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, North Korea launched at least 30 ballistic missiles, including 5 ICBMs. This ambitious weapons program has not, of course, been funded entirely by sales of made-in-China beauty products. Despite UN Security Council bans on North Korean weapons, transfers and exports of coal, iron, seafood, and textiles, the regime has continued to expand and improve its arsenal of weapons of mass destruction. A crucial factor in its success is its impressive cyber warfare capability. Between 2017 and last year, North Korean hackers were suspected of carrying out dozens of cyber attacks that raked in $3 billion to help develop its nuclear weapons program, according to a leaked UN report. The regime has also exploited its human resources. North Korea operates more than 50 restaurants staffed by its own workers in Chinese cities. So according to a March report by Voice of America, in violation of a 2017 UN resolution requiring all member states to send North Korean workers back to their home countries by 2019. North Korea has also been the beneficiary of geopolitical turmoil that has poisoned the West's relationship with Russia and China. Fallout from the Ukraine war and criticism of China's military buildup and human rights abuses have fomented a new détente between Moscow and Beijing. And it has also given Kim Jong-un an unprecedented opportunity to bust sanctions. So last Tuesday, Putin was expected to make his first visit to North Korea since 2000, with both leaders pledging to expand their security and economic cooperation in defiance of sanctions. So, from prisoner to political gridlock, the UN Security Council for years, the main driver of pressure on Pyongyang, has not adopted a resolution condemning North Korea since December 2017. Due to widening differences between member countries. The U.S. sanctions regime began to falter in 2022, the year Russia invaded Ukraine, when Moscow and Beijing used their vetoes as permanent members of the Security Council to sink a U.S. attempt to tighten measures after an ICBM launch. Russia's assault on the UN sanctions armory intensified this spring, when it vetoed the renewal of the panel of experts, an independent body that had monitored Security Council sanctions against North Korea since the country's second nuclear test in 2009. Hwang Jun-kook, the South Korean ambassador to the UN, reportedly described the move as akin to destroying a closed-circuit TV to avoid being caught red-handed. While the West struggles to find new ways to monitor sanctions, the panel of experts' demise is likely to encourage Pyongyang and its allies to commit more violations, according to Marcus Noland, Executive Vice President and Director of Studies at the Peterson Institute for International Economics in Washington. Sanctions work when the sanctioning coalition is universal or near universal. The target country is small and weak, and the targeted policy or behavior is not a core political value of the targeted regime, Noland says. He says this clearly does not apply in the case of North Korea and its development of weapons of mass destruction and their delivery systems. Sanctions, like all other tools of the UN Security Council, are prisoner to political gridlock and member state interests, says Maya Ungar, UN advocacy and research analyst at the International Crisis Group in New York. So while the UN sanctions have not resulted in the eradication of North Korea's nuclear and ballistic missile programs, that does not mean that the sanctions regime has been an entire failure. She adds, the South Koreans assess the UN sanctions as helping to slow down North Korea's proliferation activities, which gives South Korea important time to build up their own defense capabilities. Thanks for stopping by. This has been an interesting look at the situation there. Again, we're on buymeacoffee.com, so kindly go to buymeacoffee.com/Samson King and support the channel. We really appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.